try to make a video that tries to address the nuances of childhood sexual abuse. And it feels kind of important, so I hope I get it right. And I hope that what I'm saying makes sense and is accessible to everyone who's watching this. So we live with this misinformation that childhood sexual abuse almost always happens in the form of children being touched or molested or being asked to touch somebody else. And in fact, childhood sexual abuse extends far beyond those acts. And one of the definitions that was written, I think in around like 1925 by a theorist named Sandor Ferenczi, is basically that childhood sexual abuse is any act that is done in front of the child or having to do with the child, or that the child witnesses that the child does not have the developmental capacity to metabolize or make sense of, and that their body does not know what to do with it, and that the grown-ups around them are not helping them to understand it. So they're basically left in this state of overstimulation with their body, and their mind has no way of explaining it to them. Some examples of childhood sexual abuse that extend beyond being touched are being asked to watch pornography with parents, seeing parents who do things to themselves sexually in front of a child, parents who have engaged in sexual acts in front of a child, parents who talk really sexually about their children's bodies. And it's not just parents, it's caregivers, it's teachers. But sexual abuse has to do with a child's developmental capacity being completely ignored in the service of the sexual needs of the person who they're in contact with. And their body might never, ever be touched. And then they have this totally confusing experience of feeling like, I really identify with the traits of sexual abuse survival, but I wasn't touched, so I must be wrong, or I must be misunderstanding my own memories. You're not misunderstanding your own memories. It's just that we have lived with this really narrow definition of a much more complex concept than psychology has really talked about. And so I want you to feel like if you're a survivor of sexual abuse and you can't quite name what that abuse was, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means that it doesn't fall under the headings that are under the bullet points of some like two-dimensional representation of a very, very complex phenomenon.